Card Hoarder has been serving the community since 2005, and it's no wonder why they're one of the largest Magic Online secondary market stores. Ordering has never been easier, or faster with the arrival of automatic order delivery. They carry a fantastic stock of eternal staples, as well as tools to manage your collection, podcasts, articles, and give back to the community with weekly events and sponsorships that make broadcasts like this possible. Visit Cardboard.live today and see what they have to offer. You can also find them in the classifieds by searching #CardHoarder.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Tom Keating. I'm here with
Premier
Brian Cook.
League.
LPL. Let's go. Wow, that was some great Magic we just watched. That match was phenomenal. Oh, let's see this. Okay. So we now have Malamujo, the MTGO beast, versus Julian, the Elves guru. So, I think it's not a secret that Elves seems to be quite favored in this matchup. What are your thoughts?
I would agree, but after seeing the performance the Mooch just put on, I don't know. I think that game one, Elves is obviously very favored, but I've seen Death and Taxes win this matchup on the back of a card that I personally hate, Aethersworn Canonist. So if the Mooch can get a Canonist into play, we might be in for an interesting match.
So let's take a look at their at Malamujo's board, his list, and everyone can follow along by clicking on the Cardboard.live tab. He looks like he has 2 Aethersworn Canonists in the board, so he has that option, and he has the 3 Imperial Recruiters to get him if he has time to get there. But all right, so Malamujo won the die roll, and he'll be on the play, and these are the hands.
I love that hand, Tom.
Whose hand?
I'm sorry. I'm rooting for the Mooch, I think.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, I'll take the elf side here. I like little green beat stick guys. So let's see. So yeah, I mean that's a nice hand. It's got the Aether Vial for getting the mana, getting your free play, so you can use your mana for creatures use your mana for other things. It's got the Wasteland to try and keep a Gas Cradle or Bayou locked down early, and it's got a Swords to answer a quick creature with a GTA to try and clean up. So so I can see why that you like that hand, and I think that is a very reasonable. On Julian's side, I like what I see. It's a little clunkier, I think. Maybe you wish you had a second land or a Guy's Cradle, but I think you definitely keep that.
So when I look at hands, it's something that I do personally is I like to look at them and see how the game progresses. And when I compare these two hands to one another, I see the game going one of two ways. I see Mislav Montclair drawing a creature and then equipping Jit because it's a little cheaper to play than sort of Fire and Ice. But I could also see Julian hitting a second land drop and playing a very quick natural order. So I think it's really going to depend on what the top cards of the Mooch's deck are.
So he's going to go turn 1 Aether Vial without a question. Get that taken out.
Cradle was such a good draw.
It was a great draw. So let's see. So that was a phenomenal draw. So then you get this, and wow, yeah, that is a really good draw. So I guess you're going to see the Swords on the Elves, and then just keep ticking up the Vial. Next turn, you're going to play the GTA and hopefully waste something. I think that's what's coming on there.
I have a question for you, Tom. You play creature decks a little more than I do. Would you have considered playing Jit there on turn 2 at all?
So that's a good question, and I think the answer is maybe if I had a creature. But Malamujo's hand didn't have a creature, so I don't know. I definitely would have played it there. I don't see any reason to wait there. Oh, that's why. Reclamation Stage. Wow, man, Malamujo, So good. So he's going to put in an Aether Vial, Spirit of the Labyrinth now.
Oh, this is awesome.
And then next turn he's going to untap, play the GTA, and equip. So, you know,
this is how you get got.
There's a reason that I don't win as much as Malamujo. So he is going to get the GTA killed the turn after that with the Rex Sage. But I would have just run the GTA out there, and I would have gotten smashed by a Rex Sage and been in real trouble. So
I think we will see one downside of this is that when Malamujo eventually attacks, he will lose his one creature.
That is true. Because the Spirit is a 3/1, he will lose his creature. So he won't, unless he draws another creature next turn, he'll be needing some gas to follow that up with. But an active GTA with creatures to equip it to, it is generally game early enough if it comes out early enough in this match. So, and another thing to keep in mind is the Rex Sage can kill the Spirit of the Labyrinth, as someone noted in chat.
Oh. So this is what I was wondering, if he was going to play get the Dryad Arbor, and here I think we're going to see Spirit of the Labyrinth get blown up by the Rex Sage.
Yep, that is indeed what happens. So, man, you're really seeing like the power of both of these players. You know, the dance around, I'm not going to play GTA because he could have a Rex Sage, that one-of card in his main deck. And then Julian, you know, I'm just going to kill this creature because he could have an equipment and equip it. And, you know, both of those things are like one card in the opponent's deck, but one card in Legacy makes a huge difference. So okay.
We're about to see the second Wasteland on Cradle.
So I have to imagine you play, so you double waste there. And you have to play the GTA now because the Rex Sage is on the board. So they can pick it up, maybe if they get a Wirewood Symbiote, but I think you gotta do that. Okay, so if you're Julian, what do you like doing here?
Personally, I would green some Zenith for Wirewood Symbiote and then attack, and then next turn bounce my Rex Sage and try to destroy Jit before it pulls me too far behind. That's what my line of thought is.
I do like that, and I like doing that now because if you get the Wirewood Symbiote, even if someone gets a creature down, if they're a ground-based creature with this Vial on 3, you can block and return it to your hand and stop the counters. So Julian definitely knows all those tricks. So I think I like that. So let's see what he does.
You make 3 mana, so I don't think I actually like any of the Green Sun targets for 2.
Yeah, I definitely think that if it were me, I'd be searching up a Wirewood Symbiote and playing this Nettle Sentinel, but
I have the same line as you. Chat very inactive. Chat, what do you think?
Oh, they've been mentioning here. They say the GTA is whatever because of this Wirewood Symbiote that we were just talking about. So that's true, and that's again going to the point of like flying is a really good ability to have for a creature deck, and so far, you know, people cut Sarah vendors and stuff like that, and maybe that's right, but flying seems to be really strong on all these white weenies whenever we see it against another creature-based deck. But
I'm going to take your word for it, Tom. I don't play with white creatures.
Yeah, you only play with the red goblin kind, huh? You just turn them sideways. But even then, you have to think about combat math, because a lot of times you're like, okay, how many can I attack with? How many do I leave back? What's the magic number to get them to 0?
Combat math was something I struggled with a lot around like 2012, 2013, and I made a conscious effort to get better at it.
You know, one thing, like someone who is so bad at combat math, unreformedly, is Honorog. It was so funny for me to see him have Brightling in his list, because that man can't do combat math to save his life, literally.
Ooh, all right. Yeah.
And Malamujo, I think that the draws weren't really with him, and Julian navigated that really well with the Reclamation stage. And that guy's Cradle was a big draw. So I think that was a pretty clean situation.
All right. So this is going to be the first time in history you will see me rooting for Aethersworn Canonist.
Okay. It's the first time for everything.
Oh, I thought Namuj was going to concede. I guess he changed his mind.
Yeah, but I don't see him getting out of this. He's going to smash this GTA, and then next turn he's going to Natural Order, and I think it's over. Oh, he's not smashing the GTA.
No fear.
Wow. I guess I don't understand that, I have to admit.
These draws have been very poor, but that was the risk with the hand. Like, when you keep a hand like that, you take a chance.
Yeah. I mean, GTA is blank unless they draw a flyer, in which case you could just lose to a flyer plus GTA. Like, if he'd had a Flicker Wisp there, that would have put Julian in a really bad spot.
So we're seeing Julian bringing in 3 copies of Abrupt Decay and 2 copies of Needle, which seem pretty standard to me.
So just pointing out that GTA doesn't matter when there are no other creatures. That's true, but Aether Vial doesn't do anything with no other creatures either. And if you'd had a Flicker Wisp and was able to put it down, and you would smash the Rex, I guess if you have a Flicker Wisp, it doesn't matter because you can save either the permanents. So, fair enough. Okay, for the boarding, Aethersworn Cannon is coming in, as you just mentioned. What else do you like? Dahlia is coming out. Makes sense.
To be honest, I'm not liking a whole lot of anything in that sideboard other than Canonist. I do think that there's one slight edge that the Mouge has, and it's Walking Ballista, an uncommon card in Death and Taxes. We didn't see it in game 1, but you never know.
Yeah. So, do you bring in more point removal, like the Path Exile, or is it kind of a wash because it gets in the forest? Or I guess
you
almost
have to bring it in.
I think you end up taking it out. Man, this Cardboard.live thing is so amazing. I'm such a huge fan.
I am looking at it. Looks like there's one in the board and one main.
Okay, so he left the one in main but took one out? Took them both out? I can't quite tell.
Bring it in. Okay. It gives them a land, but being able to disrupt their creatures, I think, is slightly more important. So something I'm a little shocked by is that Julian sided out 2 Glimpse. I guess in this matchup, you're not trying to combo kill them, but it still seems
Are you not?
To me.
Isn't that always the plan? The plan A, or at least A prime, to just combo kill them, and plan B is always the value creature engine. And I agree. I think Glimpse is a lot less good against Death and Taxes than just trying to get a Wirewood Symbiote plus Elvish Visionary card advantage engine going. But I thought that your hope is to just combo them on turn 3.
I mean, that's what I thought it was, but we're seeing Julian prepare for a slightly longer game with the Needles and Decays.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason he boarded out 2 is that he's diluting his deck with more spells.
Potentially. That makes sense. I think that's a good consideration there. That makes sense to me.
Combo player math.
Right. And I think that bringing in the Decays and the Needles makes sense. You can answer Vials, you can answer equipment, and I think GTA is one of the things that Elves cares the most about. So one card that I haven't seen in Death and Taxes in quite a while, and I don't think it's as good in Death and Taxes as it is in some other decks like Maverick, but Dahlia Heretic Cathar can do a number on things like Elves and Sneak and Show from my experience.
Oh, the less played Thalia. I wish that Thalia somewhere play.
I mean,
maybe swap it out with the 2-mana one.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 3 the two colorless, 1 white for a 3/2 with first strike. I think all Thalias have to have first strike. It's somewhere in the Magic contract. But then your opponent's non-basic lands enter the battlefield tapped, and your opponent's creatures enter the battlefield tapped. So against Elves, it kind of can stop a lot of.
This hand is super interesting.
Whose hand?
The Mouge. Still.
Okay, yeah. I guess I should. Whenever you say this or that or R, I guess I'm just That's just you and Mooch doing the thing. Okay, so
Julian's the bad guy in this matchup.
Yeah. So Malmucho has that chain, that Flicker Wisp Recruiter of the Guard chain, and he's not going to have a problem running out one of those creatures on turn 3, which will of course be the Recruiter of the Guard first, I assume. So, but on the other hand, it looks like Julian's got a fast hand there.
We saw in the last match how powerful Recruiter of the Guard and Flicker Wisp is. However, I don't think that's what this matchup is about. I don't.
Agreed. It's too slow, I think.
I think here we're going to see a turn 3 Recruiter vialing Canonist and hope it's good enough. The downside is Julian's already prepared. He has that Abrupt Decay ready.
Yeah, he does. And I mean, he is next turn would be the kill on unmolested for Julian. So he's building up his creatures. What do you think? He's probably going to play a Bayou to not expose the Gaia's Cradle this turn, right? Or do you think he's going to play the Gaia's Cradle, play the Rex Sage, and smash the G-Save with 1 counter on it?
You mean Vial? I think that's a little aggressive.
I'm sorry.
I think
Julian,
he's a little more experienced. I think he's more likely to be a little more conservative, not just like play things out for the sake of playing things out.
Right. And I guess since he knows he has a natural order in his hand, I guess he's not that afraid of Aethersworn Canonist. Does that seem right to you?
I'm sorry?
Since Julian has a natural order in his hand, I guess he's not that afraid of Aethersworn Canonist because he only really needs to cast a 1 spell to get there.
That's very true. So we're going to see Recruiter here. The Swords wasn't a bad draw, but it's just not the right time for it, I suppose.
Right, because you have to play the Recruiter. Because the chances of a glimpse change, if there's a glimpse on the other side of the board, I think you're in real trouble. Yeah, this is looking tough.
Looking good.
I guess, do you think that there's any consideration for getting Revoker and naming Heritage Tree?
Ooh, Containment Priest.
Ooh, man, that's nice because that means that it shuts off Natural Order and Green Sun Zenith. Although, unfortunately, Julian does know about it now because he has to reveal it to the recruiter. But still, that makes sense to me. I can see an argument for any of them, but I think I like Priest more than the either two, even though I didn't think of it.
What I really like right now is we talked about how the Flicker Wisp recruiter engine isn't good in this matchup, but we're possibly about to see it be very good. Vial's about to go up to 3, and then the other Vial up to 2. We could see Flicker Wisp targeting recruiter and then getting the Canonist with that, and then he'll have his mana open for swords.
Right. So the one rub here is that there's a decay sitting in Julian's hand. So if I think that the mana works out that Julian can make all the mana, leaving the Bayou and the Forest untapped, Natural Order, and then Malamudra will put in Containment Priest, and I think Julian can decay the Priest. Oh no, wait.
He has to make a third elf.
Right, of course.
He's just like a turn too slow.
Right. Okay.
Oh wait, he can untap the elf with.
Yes, he can, and he also still hasn't played a land this turn, right? So you can still play that Gaia's Cradle and get there for 4. Okay, he's going the alternate path. He's going to take the Rex Sage, and looks like he's going to Rex Sage one of the Vials. And so in response, I'm assuming Malamudra is going to Vial and Containment Priest.
This is a pretty interesting game. I personally thought it was going to be a little bit more of a blowout, but it has a little more play to it than I expected.
Yeah, there's been a good amount of play here. So one consideration is that by doing this, it ensures Julian that next turn when he decays the Priest, Malamudra can't Flicker Wisp it, which I think is, I don't know how important that is because the Flicker Wisp would put it outside of the battlefield for when the Natural Order resolves, but I can see that being maybe some kind of consideration.
Okay, so we saw the Visionary be returned and then recast.
Yeah. Okay, so next turn, if you're Malamudra, what do? You hope you draw planes and then you Flicker Wisp, exile, and then remove through the Containment Priest ability one of the. Oh wow, this is still going on over there. Man, every time I think that like Julian's turn's done, when I've been watching him play with Elves, he's just like, nope, he's gonna make 2-3 more things.
Julian's play this game has been very good. I'm not sure if it matters in this sort of matchup though. I just feel like he's already so far ahead where that leverage skill isn't really shown to its fullest potential. So does he have a second Containment Priest?
Looks like no.
No.
Yeah.
He only has the one. Love Cardboard.live. So not only is a little quick sponsorship for Wilson here. Cardboard.live is not only for Legacy Premier League and Twitch. It's actually meant for game stores hosting 2Ks, 3Ks, other large events. And you can submit your deck through this system. It's great for coverage, all sorts of things. You can look up metagame data based on your event. It's a very powerful tool other than just being, Legacy Premier League's decklist shower.
So one thing that's going to be real tough for Malamudra here is that because Julian has the Wirewood Symbiote and the Rex Sage, he can just smash an artifact or enchantment every turn. Although it looks like that might not matter here because I think we're going to see the big Crater of Yoshi stomp down and the game being over. So that's 7, 8, 8, and there's the Crater Hoof.
Roughly 70 damage.
Yep. So there was a good amount of play there in the middle, but I think that it's always hard with the inevitability of making a big Crater Hoof and overrunning.
Rough match. Sorry, Mooj. I was pulling for you.
Well, there you go. So, Elves and Standstill looking very good this evening. We had some great games of Legacy, though. I'm definitely planning to watch some replays after this.
Oh, me too. Well, that was
negative 48. That's fun. That's fun to see there.
That was week 3 of Legacy Premier League.
Yeah.
C. What were your biggest takeaways, Tom?
Biggest takeaways. Death and Taxes look good. I think that the card advantage engine of Flicker Wisp and The coup de guard is not to be underestimated in games where you get the time to do it. Another thing I would say is that Julian seems to produce mana out of nowhere with this little green man. You think he doesn't have any more in the tank, and suddenly there's 4 mana in his pool. But other than that, I don't know. What are your takeaways, Brian?
So my biggest thing was, I think Jody Keith really impressed me with his play. He proved that he's not a one-trick pony with lands. He really knew what he was doing with land still. And I think his play likely won game 3 of his match against Julian. So I guess in general, Jody Keith impressed me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. What about the deck itself, irrespective of the pilot?
I don't think it's a great metagame choice personally. I think it's more of a fun deck, but you're seeing in Legacy Premier League a lot of fun decks coming up. Self-Led Breakfast, those sort of things. Not your typical, metagame choice, but...
Thank you. Canak donating to the producer Chip Jar. You're making it happen.
Wow, thank you.
That was a very generous donation. Thank you. I think you're right. I think there are a lot of really cool decks being showcased in Legacy Premier League, and kind of from my view, that's one of the huge benefits of Legacy. One of the reasons I think so many people love it is there are so many good cards in Magic, and Legacy is an environment where you should be able to make a lot of different things work. There's a lot of good ways you can glue decks together, a lot of really fun and interesting things you can do, and I think Legacy is in a good spot right now where people are able to play those decks and have them be competitive, even if they're not the best deck. And I think that a lot of the deck choices and play and things we're seeing in the Legacy Premier League are really echoing that that sentiment and that appeal of Legacy. That you're seeing things like Bomberman, Cephalid Breakfast. You're seeing all these really cool decks.
So I think one thing that I personally like seeing, and I talked a little bit about this a few weeks ago, but before the banning, you didn't really see fair decks that didn't play Deathrite Shaman, or if they weren't playing Deathrite Shaman, it was miracles. There wasn't a whole lot in between. It was really your deck either ran Deathrite if it was a fair deck, or you just weren't winning. And now you're seeing decks like Stoneblade, just like Blue-White Stoneblade, and all these other decks. Death and Taxes has made a really big resurgence, and I just love the new metagame where there's so many different decks. Like on my spreadsheet, there's so many decks that I'm facing where I'm typing in Rogue because it's not an established archetype. So people are out there brewing.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of brewing going on right now. There's a lot of revisiting old archetypes, a lot of mismatch, and a lot of that experimentation. And I think love of the format and love of the game is really like the core and heart of Legacy to me. So I think it's a really good spot right now. I'm looking forward to the Pro Tour, the Team Pro Tour with Legacy featured. Is this the first time Legacy's ever been in the Pro Tour?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah.
So I asked this to Phil earlier. What deck do you think the Legacy Seat champion will be playing? Good
question. Why don't we come back to that in just a second? Talk a little bit about the winners bracket here. So we have Jody Keith, who won their first 2 matches on Blue White Land still, and then we have Julian Knab, or Knab, I'm not quite sure.
Knab. I'm making fun of the way Julian says letters.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
Sorry.
Knab. So he, won against Death and Taxes. Unfortunately, lost to Death Standstill after some tight play by Jody Keith, and then beat Death and Taxes again. So I guess what we've learned is that Julian's elves can kill little white creatures and run over them. But so from here, where do we go? We have a couple more groups staged, Group D and E, and a lot of Legacy to come in the future. Is there anything else about the bracket that you wanted to mention, Brian?
No, I think you covered it. Next week, you will see yours truly playing. I'm the worst player in my bracket. I'm in a very stacked bracket. Brian Braun doing.
To be honest, all these brackets have been stacked.
That's true. But,
so yeah, BBD, Bob Huang, Jarvis Yu, and yourself. And I wouldn't count you out.
I'm just hoping not to O2.
I doubt that'll happen, but I guess we'll see next week. But yeah, there's a lot of good players in that group, and I'll be interested to see what they're all bringing, what they're all fighting with. So that'll be good. Don't forget to tune in next week for Legacy Premier League Group D, our final group stage, Week D. And so going back to what you were just asking before about the deck for the Pro Tour, what I think is the best deck, I think Sneaky Show is a great choice. I think Death and Taxes is a good choice. I think some variant of Blue-White is going to be good. I myself am not a blue-white player. I don't know what that would look like, but some variant of that. I could see Foucault Loam being a good choice. I have not been as impressed with Delver decks as I have been in the past. And I don't really know.
Hearing.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like people haven't found a good build. Gurmag Angler's still insane. Wasteland's still insane. The cantrips, Xerox style is still insane. But for some reason, those pieces are not really coming together as they have in the past. So, okay, Group C winner. Let's see. Julian Knab with 49% for the Twitter poll Group C winner. Jody Keith with 12%. So tied actually at the last place there with Phil. But Jody Keith emerging victorious. So what do you think?
The opposite records.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Jody Keith and Phil. And then
they're actually in order of how the record was.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Kind of looks like somewhat like a normal distribution there. You have, the tails on the Yeah. So yeah, Julian was a huge favorite and got put down by the humility. A little humility there.
Yeah. So should we take a second and thank our sponsors? Card Hoarder for just generally being great. They put up a ton of prizes for this event. You can also buy Belcher from Card Hoarder. Very, very cheap. Only 160 tickets or something. And then Cardboard.live. Awesome Twitch extension for paper Magic or online Magic. You can use it as a submission tool and metagame analysis. MTG First, located in Baltimore, great store. I buy from them because they carry Japanese foils. And
they also have a good online presence as well.
Do they? I'll have to check that out. And then the best website on the internet, theepicstorm.com.
Thanks again to our sponsors and supporters. They are what make Legacy Premier League happen. Thanks to the production team, the man behind the curtain, Mike. And thanks to you all for tuning in to watch. This has been another great week of Legacy Premier League, and we're really excited for the last week of the group stage next week.